and another mistake she made was not contacting the courts before she left.
Right. She was supposed to actually get permission to leave, and I hear a lot of women do this.
And
they take the kids and they run. Mm-hmm. If there's already a court order, then you're kind of in a good space if they're not following that court order. But a lot of men just don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Right.
They just don't even know what to do.
Daddy. Take a real man to be a daddy. Mommy. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go.
All right, first of all, let me say thank you guys for coming on to the Family Core podcast. I usually tell everybody this when they come on. My hope with this platform is to really foster a healthy relationship between parents. You know, no matter the status of our relationship, we don't have to be together to be able to raise healthy children. You know, and this is really what this podcast exists. And I try to give people a heads up of what really goes on in family court. You know, so talking to people like you, and also talking to professionals that deal with the family court on a daily basis. You know, so you and I, we did couple live, but we never really had the opportunity to really chat. You know, and your platform have always been interesting to me. You know, as far as that, even the name itself is very interesting. You know, you don't really see too many people talk about how mothers can also be a deadbeat. You know, and I hate to say it like that, but that's the reality of things, you know. And I personally have dealt with the family court in a very, very nasty way, you know, but thank God I was able to come out of it. And I know people that have gone through it, that are going through it right now, that just don't have the means and the support system to really be able to stand against it, you know. So some go as far as literally taking their own life, you know. So this is why my platform really exists. And I like to support platforms like yours and really bring in front of people to let them know that help is out there if you really, you know, if you look for it. Help is out there. You know, you don't have to go through it by yourself. You know, so I wanted to start with this question. The name, who's the deadbeat? How did you guys come up with that name?
Well, actually, I wanted to tell my wife I love her because it's 222, and we always say that every day at 222.
I love you too, baby.
Because that's the day we actually got married.
That's what's up.
That.
Okay.
But we came up with the name because we kind of was dealing with issues on both sides when it came to co-parenting. Mm-hmm. And
we have a blended family.
Yeah, we have a blended family of 8. Right.
Yeah, we're a family of 8, 6 kids.
Oh wow, that's a big family.
1 child of our own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. So
that's a blessing, though. Not to cut you off. That's a blessing. You guys are big. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Until you get it, then you're gonna be trying to give them away. But
no, that's right.
But no, we pretty much was dealing with co-parenting issues on both sides, and you know we were just doing some brainstorming, and actually my wife she came up with the name because I told her she needs to do jingles or something because she have a good thing. She have a good
a way with words.
Yeah, a way with words.
I've been told.
Right.
Yeah. So actually, we started off with the idea of a podcast, and so of course, with any podcast, you want to grab the attention of your viewers and things like that. And so I'm like, what could be catchy? And so the issue really was he's an active father, always have been with his children, even before him and their mom split.
Right.
And she was bashing him like on social media, calling him a deadbeat. He was paying child support. I mean, he was trying to visit them. Just all these things were going on with parental alienation. And so it was like, everybody has this deadbeat narrative about fathers only. Like it's almost a term that's just endeared towards men.
Right. When
really anybody can be a deadbeat, and not even just mothers, just family members, aunts, uncles, guardians, like whoever has the authority to stop a child from being a part of their parent's life or other people, we consider that as deadbeat behavior. And so the term itself, in the dictionary only really applies to like a monetary issue. Like the term is for like paying child support. If you don't pay child support, then you're a deadbeat. But women call men deadbeats for many things other than just paying child support.
That's true.
And he was saying it and being called one. And so who's the deadbeat was just a way of saying who's really the deadbeat in this situation. And so every situation is different. We have men that walk away, they, they give up. And so when you hear about that, you're like, he's a deadbeat. He left his family, he left his kids. But we know that there's so much more behind the scenes.
That's true.
That's causing him to do that. And so that's why we wanted to raise that question: who's the real deadbeat?
Yeah.
And so if it's a mom or anybody alienating or doing things to this man or other parent, because we advocate for anybody, not just men. It just happens to men more.
Mm-hmm.
But who's really the issue in this family dynamic that's causing these issues? And so that's what who's the deadbeat really means.
Yeah.
And so with the question mark, and yes, we do have dead highlighted, in the title, because it is mainly men. And so that's the answer to the question.
Yeah, that's actually clever. I don't know if you guys actually looked the study behind it. And even if you put the study aside, I was talking to a few attorneys. All of them agree to this. When it comes to paying child support, women don't like to pay child support. When it comes to fostering a healthy relationship with the father, the majority of, or with the other parent rather, the majority of the time, the mother doesn't want to do that, especially when they see the father's doing well, the father moved on, like you guys are doing. Yes. I don't know, it does something to them, So, I don't know if you guys did the study behind it, but that was very clever, and it's actually 100% true what you just said. So all right, let me ask you though, at the at what point did you start going through the family court? Was it during the relationship with your ex? And I hate to ask this question, because you're married now. But again, let me say this. I say this to all my guests. If I ask something that you're not comfortable sharing or you don't want to share because your case is still ongoing, we can skip it. I have no problem with that, okay? So don't feel obligated to answer anything.
No problem.
Thank you for that. We are well ready to answer any questions.
Okay.
Just give it to us. Yeah. We're open to anything. It's not really sensitive for us anyway right now. So you can go.
Okay. And again, my hope is to really for someone to watch this and say, you know what, I have learned something that I can bring to the family court. I can help my case. That's really the ultimate goal of this podcast.
Absolutely.
Sure. All right. So at what point did you start dealing with the family court with your ex? Was it during the relationship or after the breakup?
It was after the breakup.
Mm-hmm.
It was after, I think it was like 2018.
Okay.
I was already experiencing some parental alienation tactics. She was doing a lot of stuff, not answering phone calls because when she broke up, when we split, she moved 1,000 miles away. She moved to Atlanta, and I was here in Houston, Texas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when she split, she started, stop answering phones on certain holidays and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it gradually increased it when she found out I was in a relationship with my wife, and it escalated from there. But right off the back, I was still trying to be civilized and, trying to do the right thing, co-parent right.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kept running to dead ends. So I say probably the beginning of 2019, if I'm correct. That's when I decided to go pro se and represented myself with my great paralegal.
Right.
She was great with all my affidavits and everything. But we went in there and we attacked the situation head on, not knowing what we know now.
Mm-hmm.
But we knew enough. Shout out to my lawyer, but he wasn't my lawyer at the time. We actually went to go, we got a free.
You want me to take off?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, so the reason I'm saying that is because in this situation, being his wife and of course the stepmom, people like to put us to the side.
Yeah.
And with this at the forefront of a real marriage, real blended family that fought through the court system, I will never allow that.
Right.
And so he can go on and tell the story, but I like to give these pointers and tips, and I kind of, dip and dab in when he's speaking because it's a lot of things that I don't want missed, especially for this particular podcast.
Right.
The number one thing is the fact of having an interstate case in family court. That changes a lot of things.
Right.
And so, given who has jurisdiction, that can make or break your case.
Yes.
Depending on the dynamic,
Right. Absolutely.
So you asked when in the process. Actually, before she moved to Georgia,
very important.
Before she moved and took the kids out of the state, there was already an order drafted, unbeknownst to him, because she tried to get some type of state benefit, you know, like food stamps or medical assistance for the
housing,
kids before leaving. And they issued an order, which was genius, because if he never had that order, we would have been in big trouble, because we of course didn't want to have to fight in the state of Georgia. Let's just be clear.
Right.
So in Texas, they drafted the order, but it was only for one child. She left one state while she was pregnant, went to another state, and the other baby was born in the other state. So that gave her the idea that she had rights or some type of leverage in Georgia. But once a state has jurisdiction, they typically don't give it away. Unless they've been living there 6 months or more. But we thought, we caught it just when he started to fight. Only one kid was on the case, but when we went to the consultation, shout out to our attorney, TD out in Bay. He's here in Houston. Awesome, like the best of the best. We sought out free consultation. So we always like to tell people, when you don't and you can't afford, because this is very fearful for you to think about going into the family court system. Nobody wants to go to court.
Absolutely.
I hate traffic court. So when you talk about family court, that's a whole other ballgame, right?
A lot of money. Right.
And so we encourage people, just do your research. Like, it seems overwhelming. I know it's a big obstacle, but if you just tackle this thing a little bit at a time, you get the knowledge, you do the research, it won't seem so overwhelming, and you'll learn a lot of things that can help you fight your case.
Right.
And so we started out with free consultations. Our attorney at the time was listed as a free consult, but when we went in, he's like, I'm not doing that anymore. And so I'm just like, well, it shouldn't be on the internet, because at this point it's false advertising. So I just think that we won him over, right then and there, and we started that relationship. And that's very important as well. When you're seeking out an attorney, get to know these people. Like, because your attorney, they're not going to do all the work,
That's
you
true.
just got to know. But not to ramble on, that's how it started. And he gave us some pointers when he told us what to do. And I was a paralegal. We went to law libraries. We just got the ball rolling pro se.
That was good that she said that, because I totally skipped right over that. But within the 6 months, my kids was there longer than 6 months. So when we the first mistake I made, because this, I want to highlight this, is when I got her served for the first time pro se, it wasn't within the time frame that was acceptable for the courts. So I had to. It was like on the 9th day, and I was supposed to serve within 10 days.
Right.
And right there alone, my case could have got threw out, and I would have to do all this paperwork all over again. But luckily, the judge gave me another chance. So don't make that mistake. But when I finally got in front of a judge, she didn't show up. So she got held in contempt. And, it was after the 6 months. So if she would have came to court during that time, I kind of probably would have been fighting a longer custody battle than I actually fought. But being that she didn't show, she made some critical mistakes within this case as well.
Right.
As I did, not knowing that if someone's living in another state, or your kids living in another state, they automatically claim jurisdiction over those kids that state.
Exactly. If there's not already an order in place in another state.
Yeah. Right. So, but and another mistake she made was not contacting the courts before she left.
Right. She was supposed to actually get permission to leave, and I hear a lot of women do this.
And
they take the kids and they run. If there's already a court order, then you're kind of in a good space if they're not following that court order. But a lot of men just don't even know where to start. They just don't even know what to do.
So I say that to men, know your state laws, but you in most states it's 6 months, and you gotta act fast. You gotta calculate the time it takes to file. So you got 6 months to get in front of a judge. So you gotta calculate the time it takes to file, to get a court date. All that is in that 6 months. So you gotta act fast. To put a stoppage to someone running off with your kids with their order to another state.
Right.
It was in the early stages of when she left. That's what helped us It was after the breakup. She chose to leave, which is very weird because a lot of times women, you know, the narrative was just crazy. You left, you chose, y'all broke up, you took his kids across the country, and now he's a deadbeat.
Yeah, that's the only way to hurt him.
Internet.
Yeah, that's the only way to hurt him. Let's take a quick step back for a minute if we can. Can we explain what is parental alienation to those that don't know what that is? You know, I asked that question because dealing with the family court, one thing that I've come to see is that most people don't know these terminologies or know these things unless they are actually going through it, or they know, you know, they have a family member that's going through the same thing. You know, so can you guys explain what that is for those that don't know what parental alienation is?
It's pretty much when one parent target another parent as far as damaging their relationship with the other parent. See, a lot of people just think parental alienation is just keeping the kid from the other parent, but that's a severe case of it.
Right.
But you got other cases where you are a part of the kid's life, but the other parent is telling it's dogging you and making you look a certain way to you know, mess up the parent-child relationship. So and that's just in lame terms.
Right. It's actually 3 levels to it. Mild, moderate, severe, or moderate, mild, severe, something like that. But it boils down to one parent is bitter or angry at the other parent, and they are projecting their feelings onto the child.
Exactly.
So whatever they feel about this person, they want the kids to feel the same thing. So no matter how great the other parent may be, and it, you know, they just want the child to be on their side. They want them to, you know, feel the way that they feel. And it's a lot of psychological damage that goes into it. Yeah. A lot of family court don't recognize it.
I was just about to say that. Right.
Yeah. You really have to have key evidence to show how it's damaging your child psychologically. You know, if it's safety issues, when you're fighting your family court case, you have to line up the cause and effect, right, of what the damage is being done to the child for these officials to really recognize something like parental alienation, because it's just, to them, it's just a term, right? And so it's hard to prove these things. We have all this, he said, she said, all of this, you know, boatloads of experiences that are just horrible. But when you walk inside that courtroom, you do not have enough time to paint this picture.
That's true.
So you have to really understand that you got to show not about how bad this other parent is and what they're doing to you, but what damage is causing to the child.
And another thing,
that's what's most important. And so parental alienation is very hard to convince a judge when it's not no key evidence. Because a lot of the stuff is behind the scenes, it's under the table, it's underhanded. You can't prove, you know. You just know your child is not comfortable.
It's real timid when
they don't feel, you know, it doesn't feel like a family dynamic, and you don't know what's wrong. And so we just try to give a lot of tips of coping mechanisms and things. This is what may be happening. And a lot of people don't know what parental alienation is. So that's why we're raising their awareness to just continue to try to educate. Because the more we educate and people really find out, they're like, oh, I know what that is. Or, you know, they just probably don't know it's a term for it. And so, that's pretty much where we are. It's happening. It's happening.
It's true.
90% of
absolutely
cases in family court, you know?
Absolutely.
And a lot of fathers and a lot of kids that deal with parental alienation, man, sometimes it be a lot of physical abuse that come behind that as well. Any two times a parent can make a child hate another parent, you got to know that mentally it's not something there. And in a lot of cases that we've been doing this for some time now, and I have noticed a lot of cases it's been physical abuse behind that. So
to keep the kids quiet, right? Not to share too much with the other parents, so they would beat the kids. Is that what you're referring to?
They would beat the kid. Because sometimes it works and then sometimes it doesn't work. It depends on the age of the kid. all of that matter. There's so many factors that goes into play with that. But kids that knew the other parent or had a relationship with them prior to it, them be most of the kids that start questioning things.
In our situation, we have a son, and yes, he's my son. For everybody that's watching, I'm a stepmom. That's my son. These are my kids. I love them like I had them, right? And I would never try to replace their mom, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so
that's really dope that you say that, though. That's the one thing that I usually tell the people that follow me. If you are going to move on with someone that have children, you have to love those kids like they are yours. You know, because getting into that relationship, you have to be able to show that love, because the kids have nothing to do with what's going on. You know, so don't make them pay for something. They didn't act. Exactly. Absolutely. So that's beautiful to hear you say that.
Yeah.
And so when they split, he was 4.
Yeah.
And like I said, she left pregnant. She had the baby in another state. He was there for the birth of the other child, like just really trying to make it work. Not even thinking that we would ever have to fight in court, right? And so I came in the picture when the newborn was 3 months old, his daughter. And so his son knows him. He's been with him every day of his life.
Right.
So how could you go from trying to tell him, you know, he doesn't love you anymore, he doesn't want you anymore? This is his best friend. This is all he knows.
Right.
And so the point that I'm making is it was easier for her to alienate the new baby versus the child that they already had that he basically raised up until the day that they split.
Yeah.
And so within our case, the whole alienated thing didn't really work and take well with his son. And so he wasn't the favorite child because he wasn't in alignment with the alienation. And to this day, it's still a challenge because you couldn't tell him nothing about his father. That's his best friend. I mean, it got so bad to him being mistreated. He's not the favorite child when they were in that household because he just would not accept that. My dad loves me. My dad, But
the reason why he could say some of these things because he seen me showing up and her not giving me them for my visitations or parenting time, I like to say. And he seen me constantly. I was consistent. So it's one thing. That's why this is one thing I tell fathers, man. You got to make sure you stay active. You can't just be like, man, I'll wait until they 12.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
And because that 12 thing is a myth.
Yeah.
A kid can't just go to the courts and be like, oh, I want to live with this parent, and that's what happened. That's not. That's
right. They'll allow them to talk to the judge, but that doesn't mean that's going to change the outcome of the case. It has to be in the best interest of the child.
Right.
It has to make sense, right? Yeah. And so we hear sometimes a lot of dads that follow our platform, they have said that. Like, listen, I'll just wait till my child is this age, and they'll say they want to come live with me. We hate to, spill the milk and spoil, your dreams, but it doesn't work that way. But you
gotta stay consistent, man. You gotta be there. You gotta go to school.
You gotta show up,
man.
We was driving 12 hours to Georgia, coming back empty-handed several times.
Wow.
Yeah. And if you don't show up, it's not going to look good for your kids. But that's only one part. But it's definitely not going to look good for the court.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you stay consistent.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. One thing that I've come to understand is that kids will never understand why you wasn't there. Your fight with their mom, they will never be able to understand it. All they see is daddy's not here.
That's it.
So, yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely
right. It was one point that he was calling. She wasn't picking up the phone, right? Now, this is a 1,000-mile distance between him and his son and a baby. We know the baby doesn't know what's going on, but his son is looking forward to those conversations with his dad. That's the only connection that he has after being ripped out of his life, and this is the only thing that he knows.
Yeah.
So I told my husband, I said this, because it was really bothering him, like really bad. We for a 5-year battle, we've had some really tough times.
Yeah, we went through a lot.
It wasn't easy, and I used to tell him, listen, these kids aren't going to stay kids forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They are going to grow up.
Yeah.
They are going to start noticing this and that. And in the meantime, we have work to do.
Yeah.
So I told my husband, okay, she's not answering, not picking up. We don't know if he's okay. We don't know anything. So guess what? Let's catch a flight. Yeah. We're going to go to Georgia. You're going to buy him a phone. You're going to put this phone in his hand. and you're going to say, call me whenever you want. Now, we know that's not going to happen.
Right.
But once that phone get in his hand, he going to remember my daddy gave me a phone and told me I could call him whenever he wants.
Yep.
So on them days that you telling me my daddy ain't calling me and my daddy ain't loving me, where's that phone that mysteriously disappeared that my daddy gave me? He did that, all hell broke loose. She was going to sue the school, and it was all these problems.
On top of telling the school that I didn't even, she had full custody.
He didn't have no rights. It was just chaotic.
We had a standard custody order, so.
Wow.
But I knew that once he got that phone, he would understand. He would understand the assignment. Listen,
right.
You could call me every day. Here go your phone. And we ain't seen that phone since we put it in his hand. But I bet you he understood. Yeah. My daddy loved me. That's not true.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you guys say that because I had a conversation with a mother once, and I asked them, I said, listen, since you don't want the father to give the phone to the children, it was this exact same conversation, Willie. Since you don't want the father to give the phone to the child, why don't he give the phone to you? You can hold the phone, do whatever you want to do with the phone. When he's ready to talk to the kids, you can turn the phone on, you can give the kids the phone, and you go about your business and let them talk. So whenever they're done, you can come back and pick up the phone and do whatever you want to do with it, but just keep that phone for the children.
Yeah.
And guess what she said? She said, nope, ain't going to happen. So it's like everything have to go through her before it can get to the children, you know. So, but I like what you say that. Yeah.
Like,
that's wrong. It's a control factor.
Just like the phone conversations, man. You know how many times I heard whispering in the background?
In the court order, it states that she's not supposed to be in earshot of the conversations, and we always hear her voice, no matter what.
Please tell me you record them. You record their conversations, all right?
Oh, we this is old stuff. We so far past this point. We enforced. He's been put on probation, facing jail time, all the way up to now. We have primary custody of these kids.
Yeah. Oh wow. Let me ask you this before I move on to my next question. Actually, well, it's not a question; it's more of a statement. I know most mothers, and again, I can argue this point. I believe most of any mother that have this mindset to keep the children from their father don't love the children. It's just there's no way that you can say that you love your children and keep them away from their father. You know what I mean? That's a part of them, you know. And one thing that I've come to understand, it's not the breakup that really hurts the children. It's the fact that you are keeping them from the other parent, or they don't see the other parent on a regular basis, that creates all this problem where in school they are not listening, they start failing, they becomes angry, aggressive with their friends, not listening to the teachers. You know, I have seen this myself personally. Was it something that you guys saw that as well with your kid?
Absolutely.
Man, it's I'm glad you speaking on this. You asked these questions actually. We constantly right now, we are going through it's a major struggle on a day-to-day basis with my son as of right now, dealing with this. Mm-hmm. Not the fact that he's he's still not listening, but he's getting better. I would give him that. But the progress he have made from the time of being with us until now, it's still a struggle to get him to that point because of these things. Yeah. And
it's completely consumed him. His mind. I mean, and you know, we know that therapy helps and things like that, but it's so to the point that she went as far as getting a friend to be a fake therapist for him, having therapy sessions in front of her. Mm-hmm. So now he's not even comfortable with therapists. Oh, wow. And so, you know, the manipulation tactics and the thing, he was having a lot of problems in school. I mean, my husband knew all the teachers. He's like being active with all of them, you know, 1,000 miles away, trying to get them on board to understand what the real issue is. He's just coming to school punching kids and saying, call my dad, just so he can talk to his father. Yeah. And so we have to fight with the schools, you know, just having a court order, because initially, and I know this thing can get long-winded if we just sit up here and talk about us all day long. But the court order that we established when we first took her to court, because it's so many issues with this family court podcast, we may need another segment. I don't know. Because, you know, this woman got another man involved. That's a whole other issue where he was like They had a fake marriage. He was pretending to be stepdad, thinking that he was taking over. And we're like, no, you've been bamboozled.
Wow.
These kids have a father.
Right.
Tried to warn them.
She's using you.
Yeah.
This is a game. This is what we've been going through years. I've been in the picture years before you even came in the picture. So he played a part in a lot of stuff. There was a lot of domestic violence in the home.
Wow.
It was just unbelievable. It went from bad to worse. When we were just dealing with her, she goes and gets a partner. We're like, okay, great. It's another man. He's going to understand what's going on. He's going to tell her this is wrong. Your kids need their father. It was the total opposite. The total opposite.
I think that's the mistake that most men make, though. That's the mistake that most men make. When you get in a relationship, she have children. That's not your business. You there for the mother. Be there for the mother. You know, I have known people that have literally lost their life trying to be Captain Silver. You know what? When you don't know the story, you just take her side. I've literally seen this. I've seen it.
It's two sides.
Exactly.
To every story.
And this man he really came in the picture, and we warned him. My husband was really just trying to be, even with everything he's going through. And I know a lot of men cannot even deal with this stuff. Yeah. But I was so proud of him just, accepting, okay, there's another man around. We just hope this is a good dude, right? We just hope that he can steer her in the right way. Yeah. It was so bad. People wouldn't even believe.
Let me just cut you off. The reason why I hope, because it's clearly she still wanted to be in a relationship with me with all of the bitter things that she was doing. Yeah. So I was hoping she found love to, ease the pain. But what happened was I drove another 1,000 miles away to go pick my kids up. And, I was having conversations with this man. And, he told me, like, man, you're going to get your kids. So I thought it was hope. Right. But when I got there.
He's like, I'm going to make her stop all this foolishness. We're going to do this the right way. You guys come down. You're going to get both kids. We like, okay. Right. I'm like, I don't know now. Blank trip.
But when I got there, it was a whole nother ball game.
She fed him all the lies.
He couldn't even look me in my eyes, and she was looking frowned up. So I knew I wasn't getting to us.
Just go along with us, like whatever it is. I said, sir, I had to look behind me. I said, do you know who I am? You're telling us, the people that know this situation, and this is his kid. Mm-hmm. No, you go along with it.
Not going along.
And now they have a baby together, and she's alienating him from his child.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We tried to warn you.
See, that's the thing I don't understand, though. If you see her doing that to the father of the children, what do you think she's gonna do to you when you guys start having children? Like, I don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to me. So let me ask you this question. And this is for the wife, and I'm gonna come back to you. Okay, going through this with him, and I think this is actually one of the most beautiful thing that you have, sir. Not too many people have a partner that really understand the situation, get in the fight with them, and really help them throughout the entirety of it. I think you are blessed in that part, So for you, ma'am, I'm trying to find a better way to ask this question.
Ask it however you want. It's all the same.
Okay, so most people will call this baby mama, baby daddy drama. They won't even get it. You know what I'm saying? They won't even get, let alone stay in a relationship or get married to it. What was it about? And I would say, to me personally, I think this speaks more of his character, because if you are willing to fight like this with him, it shows how good of a person that he is, So in your own words, like, what was it about him that made you say, you know what, I'm going to stick by this man and I'm going to help him fight this fight until we win?
So if I talk too long and we get kicked off the link, just let us start it up, okay?
Give me the short version.
A lot of people don't know the real story, right? It's a lot. Mm-hmm. And so our story is a true love story. A lot of people don't know that. So when we first met, it was in 2008. Mm-hmm. And when I met him, I was in a situation, I had kids, I was with somebody else. He didn't have any kids, right? Mm-hmm. We developed a friendship. Now that situation I was in was horrible, didn't last. It was just a waste of time. Mm-hmm. But at that time, he wanted to be with me, and we couldn't be together. He really was kind of upset with me that I didn't walk away from that situation at the time and be with him, and I should have. I should have. Right. But life.
And we wouldn't be on this podcast.
Right. That's true. Right.
And so, to make a long story short, we got back together in 2018. I won't give the story behind that, even though it's beautiful. That's another day.
Right, I understand.
But I came to Houston because we remained friends on social media. I followed his life. I knew when he had his first kid. Mm-hmm. I had a dream that she was pregnant with their second baby, and I told him, "Is you have another baby?" And this man tried to, "What you talking about? No, what? Right?" So I come here and he's single. I was just visiting, and I couldn't believe it because I know his kids. The child that he had, his son, that was his life. Like, they were inseparable the whole time since he's been born. And so when I came to Houston and I seen that was how it destroyed him, in for lack of a better term. Like, I know that crushed him, that separation from his son. Right. And so I was just like, I was already in love with him. I've been in love with this man for many, many years, and vice versa. We just made some bad choices. But the way that she handled the situation, like, this is my best friend. And this is when I came and I knew he was single and he knew I was single. We got married in 6 months. It was no time to waste. We wasn't about to plan a big wedding for everybody to eat and drink and dance off of us. No, let's do this first, and then we got business to take care of. When I seen the hurt that this woman was causing for this man and his child, now 2 kids, but mainly the son that has only known him. When I tell you, it struck a fire in me that I didn't even know I had. Wow. I already was going to be with him. You just a baby mama. I understand. I have kids with another man that was baby mama drama. I've been through all that. Right. But that, to me, is childish. Yeah. That's young stuff. You reach a certain age. Yeah. At some point, you should know how to parent, and you should know how to continue life as an adult. Absolutely. And so I was out of that phase. And so, I really gave her the benefit of the doubt. I came in the picture like, hey, look, it's got to be a way we can do this. I wasn't going to be disrespectful. I did a lot of things that I would never have done for her sake. She had just had a baby, so I'm thinking, hey, this woman, I know she still wanted him, but okay, so what? It is what it is. Yeah. She just had a baby. She may be going through some hormonal imbalances, whatever the case may be, but let's just try to work with her. Let's just try to see how this goes, right? To do what's best for the kids. Yeah. Forget me. I take the sideline because I know who I am. I know what position I play. I don't got to get on the field right now. But once she took my kindness for weakness, that was it. That was all she wrote. Now the gloves got to come off. Now, let's do this. And I still kept giving her the benefit of the doubt. He is a good man. He loved his kids. She even was able to reap benefits off of him just for the sake of his children. And so for me, that's so highly disrespectful that you could think you own possession of these children and try to destroy this man and his child's relationship with, I just couldn't believe it. Now I know about deadbeats, but that was
not this case.
Right. That was what we're taught, and what we're always taught isn't always right. That's right? Society puts these barriers up where you just hear something and you've been hearing it all your life, so you think that's just the way it is. Right. But I never, even as a woman myself, having kids with another man, I didn't always do everything right. Now, I didn't go to the measures she did, but I can honestly admit that we, as women, society makes us think sometimes that we have leverage over dad, or we're smarter than them, or we know how to handle these babies better than them. Why? Because we carry them? That's not always true. That's true. You got to know about the mental and the background and the family and genetics, and all these things play key parts. This is why we always tell people, watch who you have children with.
Yeah, that's the mistake. But you know, sometimes it's very hard for you to know the person that you are with until the baby is born. You know what I mean? But what you just say is scientifically proven that, and I hate to say it like this again, but mothers, according to the numbers, mothers just do a worse job compared to fathers. But again, when it comes to family court, what they do is,
we think we know it all.
Right. When it comes to family court, what they do is They always give the children, and again, I hate to say it like this, they always give the children to the weaker parent so that the stronger parent can pay child support, because they know that they can have you work longer, and they can have you pay. Usually some people, they pay child support, when you look at it, it's like it makes no sense that the amount that they make them pay.
It makes no sense.
Especially if you are representing yourself and you don't know what's going on, not to cut you off, but go ahead.
But yeah, and so we all know, like you said, the family court system, it is a business, right?
Yep.
And a lot of people get sucked up into this whirlwind of chaos and corruption, injustice in courts, but it starts before then.
Yeah.
The red flags are there, right? And
That's
so
true.
we just choose to ignore them. And so now, granted, once the baby is born, right? But some of these things are coming out before you even reach a courtroom.
Yeah.
And so it's up to you to not ignore those red flags. If you're having a kid with a woman and she's trying to put restrictions on you already, you have to know in the back of your mind, okay, something isn't right here, because it's equally your child just as much as it's hers.
Absolutely.
And even though I advocate for blended families, and I'm no different when it came to some of the things I did with my children and their father sometimes, where it's this stigma, where we just feel it. We know best. It's my baby, my child, my this, my that. I don't want you to do this. You can't do that. And some women allow men, but it's still always that thought that they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just keep it real.
Yeah.
But when those feelings and emotions come out and they start restricting you, and you have to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
You got to gear up and get ready, because if y'all don't have the best co-parenting relationship while y'all together, what is going to happen if y'all choose to separate? And this is what we tell people all the time. And we've heard some really horror stories of how these women control these men. They're steady appeasing them, steady trying to do what they say, thinking it's going to keep them out of court. But as much as we all hate to go to court, that may be your only option.
Absolutely.
That may be the best option for
One
you.
thing your men got to stop doing, man. Y'all got to stop playing ball on their court. You got to
stop dancing with the devil.
You got to bring them to your court.
Right.
So don't be going, if they say you got to come over here to only see your kid. Man, don't fall for none of those tricks, man. You might as well go straight to the courts, because the second you stop doing something, or the second you get a significant other, it's all hell is going to break loose.
Yeah. But in short, to finish what I had started, because I don't think I really gave a good conclusion. I knew that I needed to stay in gear. If I stayed ready, I didn't have to get ready, because a lot of times it was hard for us as a couple. My marriage was suffering. Yeah. We put a lot of things behind and on the back burner to secure this, because the kids is what was most important. I knew that without that being resolved, we could never live a happy life.
That's true.
So it consumed us. And so we just try to think of ways to tell people that are going to go through this or going through it, a better ways to do it. And we held our composure. That kept us, that saved us. A lot of people can't do that. Yeah. The things we were faced with this woman doing to the kids, even to us. I mean, she put a false order of protection on me. I had to get a lawyer. We went to court for that. Said, like, just so many things that we had to deal with. Don't get distracted. That's what I want to tell everybody. Like, stay focused on the goal. And so I tried all the mediating with her before we even had a real mediation in court. Hey, how much child support do you want? She couldn't even give me a number. Wow. That's when I knew it's nothing to satisfy this woman. Yeah. Want my husband, and that you can't have. Right. That is not no bargaining chip. You can forget it. So, yeah, that's when it was over with. That's when I knew, oh yeah, baby, we in this to win this, because she want him, you can't have him. Yeah. I'm gonna stick by his side, behind him, in front of him, on the side, and they hate it. Yeah. They hate it. Everybody hate it. It's not controlling. I don't control him. Yeah. He did a lot of things that I don't think he should have did or handled it a certain way, but it don't even matter, because in the end, we still won what we wanted.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Now let me ask you, sir. I know she's your biggest strong system. Have you ever sat back and said, you know what, dang, I hate that I'm putting her through all of this? You know, you probably had those feelings at the beginning, or do you still have those moments where you feel like you're putting your wife through a lot with your ex?
Oh man, yeah, all the time, most definitely. Man, I hate it so much that sometimes we get into it because I be trying to just smooth everything out because that's just the type of person I am. But sometimes in certain situations, man, especially in a situation when you're dealing with a hostile person, you can't be like that. And that was my biggest challenge.
High conflict.
Is trying to a high conflict person, but that was my biggest challenge, trying to balance everything. Trying to make sure everything on this end smooth while making sure my wife happy. Why, I got other kids that's in the house that's looking at me, and my relationship with my mother.
Yeah.
It kind of damaged. I damaged a lot of relationships behind that. Not damaged them permanently, but it took a hit doing this whole process because I was just trying to make sure, especially in my household, that everybody was good. But man, yes. To answer your question, yes, I definitely hate it, and I definitely don't like it. Just yesterday, you think that once you go through things and you go through all this process of getting your kids, you think that's the end all, and it's not. Just like yesterday on the pickup and drop off, something took place, and I'm instantly looking at my wife because like she doesn't deserve this type of stuff to happen because of something in my past, and that be the whole guilt with me. But I do have a understanding of her, and to understand that she doesn't really judge me openly like that. I would say
no, I don't.
She probably be talking to her friends behind my back all the time.
I used to get mad at him so much when I thought about him having kids with her, but that's not fair. We all have a past, and we all have made some not so good decisions, including myself, so I tried to, we've been through a lot. That question is a strong one because I know that he carries it, but a lot of times it don't matter. Like we fighting so hard that we end up hitting each other, like that's the part that we have to really take a step back and say, look, we can't let this destroy us.
And also she made me very comfortable in the situation. At first, I'm not gonna lie, we bumped heads a lot because there was certain things that I was doing that she didn't agree with, and vice versa. But she made it comfortable for me to understand that she's fine in this situation, and with that was my relief right there. That little bit of relief. But I still feel some type of way like every time a new issue come up because she doesn't deserve that. And even with me, my oldest biological son, I would say, he kind of feels some of that. He's starting to see and notice certain things too, and he be feeling some of the guilt for her too as well when he see his mom react and do certain things. But she
they ain't got to worry about me. I got this.
That's what we get.
The real question is worry about what's going to happen to us because I'm at my wit's end, like fed up. I mean, this fight it's unbelievable. Like sometimes, and like you say, we are blessed. We are blessed to have each other, even though a lot of people don't understand the dynamic. They like to, have their little comments and things to say about me and how I should stay in my place. But I like to let people know I am well within my place. The day he married me, I was put in place.
There you go.
And so
there you go. Yeah, most people that talks about you guys probably never been to the family court system. They don't know how crazy it is. So I won't even pay attention to them. Yeah.
And exactly, and no one is finna control
my household.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our house.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And that's what it all comes down to. It's not, you're not finna control the situation, man. We didn't go through all this for nothing.
Right.
To just bow down, and it's all about the best interest of the kids too, as well.
As it should be. Right.
And we're still in the fight. We're still in the fight for them. It's a long time coming. I like to let people know, even though you get some resolution in the family court system, you still have to always be ready and prepared to go back.
Yeah.
You always have
until
to be
the
ready
kids are 18 or 21. Yep.
Exactly. And always keep your guards up at all times. So like you said, you always got to be prepared. But always, it never stops. Like until they 18. So all those phone calls and everything you was doing, if you win custody, continue to do that. Because if you don't, you can find yourself in the bind, because you better believe they continue to plot.
Don't go from being alienated to becoming an alienator.
Right.
Because it happens. That happens as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like you get that win and you like, please, I don't have to do. Yes, you do. You have to stay consistent, and still, that's not good for the child either. You know.
And another thing that I recommend for parents that's dealing with this is take your wins. You know, take the smaller wins. Everything is not going to happen in one court day.
Exactly.
It's going to be dragged out.
I'm just going
to keep it real with you, but you gotta take your wins when you can, and you gotta give a little to get what you want. Yeah. You can't just go in there just saying you want this, this, and this, and this, and it's just going to happen that way. You're going to have to play the game.
Right. Each case is different. We've heard, some cases that were kind of open and shut, but we know that's not the vast majority of cases.
Not at all.
Especially if it's like divorce cases. Like it depends. A lot of men just are uneducated, and we want to educate them and raise awareness and give these tips and pointers. And I'm happy you have us on here, because I just think this is an awesome platform.
Yeah.
It's just something that we need to put out more of. Right. And
yeah, that's why I try to partner literally with anybody that have a platform like this, and I feel like we don't have enough of it, until all of us come together and join force, nothing will ever change, So, and the crazy thing is, some mothers that drag the father to the family court, they don't even know how crazy the family court is. And not to defend them, but a lot of them they are just as ignorant as most fathers that are going to the family court. You don't know, you think that you're doing something good, but you're destroying that man, without knowing that that you're doing that. So, yeah, you guys are right. Let me ask you this, ma'am. I guess this is an advice, if I can ask. If you were to advise someone who wants to get in a relationship with a man that have children, but the conflict between that man and the mother of the man's children is just too much, or to a point where it's it's very hard to really get into that relationship. What advice can you give to a woman like that?
The advice that I could give is, you and that man would have to have a very hard conversation, a very difficult conversation. Not to say that it's not his, but it is his and it's not yours. I don't know what relationship it could be, whether it's just a new relationship or marriage or whatever. You and that man have to be on one accord. You have to know his likes, dislikes, what he wants, what he's willing to, deal with, and see if that's something you're willing to deal with. Yeah. If it's not aligned, it's not going to work. Yeah. You're going to go into a situation where you feel, slighted. You feel like you're getting a short end of the stick, because his kids are going to come first, definitely, in a situation where he's fighting for them, where it's chaos and whatever. But I just think that goes with any type of union or new relationship. You have to know this person. You have to know what you're getting into, in a sense, because people always like to say that, and that's why I say that. Oh, you knew what you signed up for. No, I didn't sign up for this.
Right.
I signed up to love a man. I signed up to be with this man, but I didn't sign up for all this chaos and craziness coming from a person that I wasn't involved with.
Nobody can even plan for nothing like that.
Right. The whole, you signed up for, I would say, so to speak, try to get an understanding of what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
Because everybody's situation isn't crazy, right? You can get with a man and he can have a good co-parenting relationship with the other parent, and it wouldn't be a problem. But just kind of get a feel for what's going on. When it's this type of situation, you may want to figure out what works best for you.
Yeah.
If you're not the type of person that can endure, being supportive for somebody in this magnitude, then I would just say, let him deal with that on his own, and you can't be a part of it, because it's a family.
Yeah.
If you with somebody, then you with everything about them. Right. That's how I feel.
Right.
You can't pick and choose what's important and what's not.
There you go.
Kids are at the top of the top of the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
So any woman that's getting with a man and they already going through something like this, don't get nobody to hush you. You have to speak up. Mm-hmm. and certainly to that man. And y'all got to work together to know what's going to work best for the kids first.
Right.
Then y'all.
And all these court proceedings, like, you have to, if there's someone, like she said, first thing first, y'all gotta lock in. Y'all gotta have that bond first.
Or understand it at least.
Because if you don't got that, then nothing else is going to work. But with all this court proceedings and stuff like that, like in our situation, I have to drive 1,000 miles every other month. How is that fair to my wife to not involve her in that and just handle it myself? And this is part of her life too as well.
You wouldn't have had a wife. You wouldn't have had a wife.
So I'll say that too. So make sure you get involved in.
It's a lot of patience. Yeah. It's a lot of praying.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff, right? And so you just gotta know these is not. I get pushback, right? So I get the question. It's so for me, it's a lot of moving parts, but I'm just trying to put it all in one.
I understand.
Women like to feel even not just with me, but just they like to separate themselves from rough times. Mm-hmm. Like we are the damsel in distress, the pretty princess, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That's his. That's not mine. That's too much. But when it's a real foundation there, you in it. Yeah. Because if this man is hurt, how could you not? How could you not hurt?
Right.
It's not about, because I know being a step parent is not easy. Let's just be clear. Like, I do love his kids like they mine. Me and him still bump heads on how I'm involved because I don't know how to take a step back sometimes and allow him to just, be the parent, be the
but
father.
I don't think that pretty much got nothing to do with that's parenting, period.
No, it is, but it got a lot to do with it when you're a step parent and it's not your biological kids. That can make or break a relationship. A lot of people divorce over this stuff. Right. So that's why I'm speaking on it.
Right.
We might not divorce. We just gonna keep arguing until death do us part. But other people will be like, he don't want me to say nothing to his kid. I'm out of here.
Right. No, that's true.
The point that I'm trying to make.
And I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. Last question for you, ma'am. Last question for you. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. Okay. If you knew then what you know now, would you do it again?
Yeah.
Be honest.
Yeah, I would.
That's love.
I would do it again. I would do some stuff different, but I'd do it again. Because that means I still get him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll take that.
All right, to you, sir. For a man that's in a relationship and they have a crazy baby mama, what would you advise them on how to keep their marriage intact while dealing with this crazy woman that's keeping their kids away from them, dragging them to the court, making them drive 1,000 miles every other month? What would you advise a father?
I advise the father to keep an open line of communication with your wife, first of all. Second of all, don't be at the beck and hand of a baby mama. That, like, a lot of fathers just do that just to keep the woman mouth closed, or that's how men operate anyway. We just, just pay a little money just to keep her mouth closed, but don't operate like that. You can't do that with, especially with a wife involved. You can't. Don't do that. That's a mistake you don't want to make. And get your paperwork in order, man. Go to court. Yeah. Handle it the right way. Once you see it's hostile and it's bitter stuff going on, go to court, do what you got to do, and get them laws and get that order in place, because it's going to cause a mess for your family.
Right.
And as far as what was the second part of the question?
What would you advise a father? If you're dealing with a crazy baby mama, and either you're getting married or in a marriage, how do you keep your marriage intact?
And and as far as probably keeping your marriage intact is don't get too caught up in the process of fighting for your kids. You got to understand. I understand that those are your kids, but you are in a marriage too as well, and you have to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
To make sure your marriage is good. Because if you get too caught up in that, women. We know how women operate. They gotta have.
I know what you mean. Right. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying choose. It's not a choosing thing, but you got to know how
balance.
And that's you got to know how to balance. And that's the thing as a man.
Yeah.
We have to know how to do. But the main thing is getting everything in order, and don't try to bounce to her tune. The second you see something is wrong, you gotta get it in order.
You cannot compromise with crazy.
That's
you
right.
cannot compromise with crazy.
And that's the number one thing right there. You
Right.
can't compromise with crazy. The second you see it, you gotta get it in order.
You can lose everything.
Right.
Yeah. You gotta get it in order and quick. You'll lose your wife, and now you're still in court fight for your kids. So
right. And
get
listen,
it in
guys.
order.
Yeah, I thank you guys so much for giving me 1 hour and 1 minute. I truly appreciate you guys. Any last words before we get out of here?
My words is
don't give up. Don't give up. It's an uphill battle. Take every win and loss and just keep pushing because your kids need you. They need you.
And also educate yourself, fathers. You got to understand that. You got to understand these laws just as well. You can't just rely on your lawyer to know what's
going on.
To do all the work. You're going to have to do your due diligence. You got to go out here and you got to put in that work too as well.
Yeah.
You can't just allow for your lawyer to do this because your lawyer is messing with a couple of clients. They're not just worrying about your case. So how we won our case or got granted, custody of our kids, that we went out there and we did a lot of work ourselves as far as getting police reports and stuff like that to make the job easier for our lawyer to present it.
Right.
So I recommend, I just tell fathers that all the time, man, make sure you do your due diligence. And also
take action.
Yeah, take action for sure.
Take action. Always take action.
And for your all the women that's out there that's in the situation that's as a step
man, because they going through a lot.
And it's tough.
And
both partners give your partner some grace.
Yeah, and I understand that we be selfish at sometimes, but sometimes you really got to understand and educate yourself on parental alienation and the cause effects that it do on each party, the kid, the parent, and other family members. Because my mother, she was affected by this too, and my father was affected by this too as well. So
deadbeats can be not just the father. Deadbeats can be anybody that's keeping a child from another person that loves them genuinely and wholeheartedly supports them. And so in closing, just know that you're not alone. We in this fight together. Even when in custody, we still fighting. We still fighting for the mental stability of our kids. We have a lot of damage control we got to do for each other to even keep this marriage intact going forward.
Yes.
It's just an uphill battle. It's a journey. And so thank you for having us.
I got one other thing. And
fathers, yes, sir, go ahead.
Fathers, man, make sure you because I talked about everybody else. Fathers, make sure you take care of yourself, man. Do something that like a hobby or something. Go to the gym, color in the coloring book. Do anything that'll just keep your mind away and give you some peace so you can handle this situation, because it's tough, man. I see a lot of fathers, they just go downhill, man. And like you said, unalive themselves. And I don't,
I know two that did it last year.
Really?
You said who? I'm sorry.
Two that actually took themselves out last year.
Two different people.
Man, see, that's
two different people going through it. I had the opportunity to talk to them, but I just feel like I just felt like I just didn't do enough for them, and after a while, you're trying to contact them, nothing, and then the person that they were with just got on the phone with like, they're no longer here, So these things is very serious.
It's very serious.
It's very, very dangerous, and most people don't, especially mothers, don't understand how crazy this thing is. That's why I do what I do, and I'm very serious about it.
That's
I'm
right.
in the process of doing in-person conference. So expect an invitation from me soon where you can come, and speak. Of course, it's going to be a paying gig, but so I'm trying to really connect as many platforms or organizations that support fathers that are going through this as much as I possibly can. So this is not to say that we don't support mothers or we're not for mothers.
Right.
We really, the whole thing is how can we come together about these children, no matter how our personal relationship is.
Exactly.
And I think that's the most important things. So again, I thank you guys truly for being here with me. How about your platforms? Go ahead.
My platforms, that's what I was just going to get to. You can follow us on Instagram at Who's the Deadbeat. We also on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, at Who's the Deadbeat, and also go to our website, man. We sell these shirts or whatever, and each some of the proceeds from everything on the site go towards helping the dead out with some lawyer fees. We in the process of right now talking to different people as far as giving dads jobs and stuff like that. So we trying to open up the resources for that. To try to get, because a lot of the problems, dads just don't have the money to fight. They want to, but they just don't have the money to fight. So that's what Who's the Deadbeat is about. When we're about educating, helping out with the legal fees, and just getting the dead back on their feet. So, and how that start with us is through our merchandise or whatever. And we appreciate it if you just go on who'sthedeadbeat.com.
We gotta all support each other because it's a movement.
Yeah,
it's not one-sided. We all in this together for the same purpose.
Yes. So I appreciate you again, man.
Thank you for having us.
Finally got it done.
Absolutely. Yeah. After how many days?
And feel free to bring us back on, man.
Yeah, we'll come back anytime. I got a lot. I got a lot that I left
out. So. Yeah, we got to schedule a part 2. Thank you guys so much. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. You have a good one. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.